Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Weekly Impact by Lay of the Land and Impact Architects. Today is the 25th of September, 2024. I'm Jim Haviland.
I'm Kris Snyder. We got to get
All
that
right,
in.
Kris. We got to work on that. All right. So, Kris, a lot to cover today, man. We have a great episode. We got VCFest and we got Best in Tech. So let's get right into it. So we're at 184, John Vickers, Blue Abyss, building a giant pool, Kris.
Yeah, and just I'm jealous in so many ways, right? Like just his ambition, right? And
Yeah.
that gets used more than a few times inside the podcast, and I think it's used appropriately, right? It wasn't like, hey, I want to go write some code that's going to change nothing. It's, I mean that in all due respect to all those
All
early
the coders out
SaaS,
there. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this guy is literally trying to go out and, in effect, right, how we will live our lives on this planet, right, from an oceanic moment all the way into space.
Yeah, and
So
he sees it that way, and that's when we talk about the importance of having a vision and not just having it, but being able to articulate it clearly, and that that's as part of your operating system. You have to get to the place where you can not only feel something, but you actually have a way of describing it in 10 words or less. And I think he nails all of that, plus all of the emotion behind it. And it's really what a cool thing. It's a cool thing for Cleveland. It could be done anywhere, but I know, as an elementary school student going to visit the NASA center, I don't remember it was always called Glenn at that point, but because I'm ancient, but but they I remember hearing that they had the largest vacuum chamber, had a drop time to it. They had ways of giving you that zero gravity space, inside the center. Like, it was really remarkable that's like, that was something that was really started in Cleveland. And I have no idea why necessarily it started in Cleveland, but I think it's cool. And I think, there's a lot of pride to be had in, doing that basic research here.
yeah, and I don't remember the episode number, but y'all can look it up. I mean, we had the head of the Space Center, NASA, right,
Yep.
on episodes 30, 40 ago, something like that. So it is an homage. I think what it maybe could be been done anywhere. I think the point is it was done here because of that NASA center, right? Like
Yes.
there's resources and kindred spirits and things you can anchor to if you're going to build something like Blue Abyss. And it again, the long range view that he talks about time and persistence, Jim, right? And we're both
Yes.
big fans of Simon Sinek and the Infinite Game, right? Will and the resource
Absolutely.
to play the game, and you get to play it forever if you can. If you don't run out of either one of those, the will or the resource. And a lot of what he, I think, was trying to say in the time and persistence statement is you've got to be present to win. Like, you figure
Right.
out, even if you don't have all the answers yet,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
figure out the ability to persist, right? To go win enough of the day, to fight another day, to be hopefully present when the technology start to get together, when the timing and the marketplace and the things that you can't control as an ambitious founder, right? You have to sometimes wait those things out, and it's hard. But
Yeah, and it's that delicate balance of being patient, but what I like to call being diligent patience. Like, I'm trying to solve the problems of today, making steps forward. It may not be everything I've got, but I'm actually making progress. And it's that important word yet. When hey, do we have that figured out? Not yet. It's like, no, we don't have it figured out. That's not yet. We're going to figure it out, and just having that faith that we're going to solve these challenging problems that are out there. So I think it's a very interesting episode to hear his story, because he doesn't have a background that would suggest he's going to do this. But yeah, I'm really cool. It's really cool, and I'm really curious to see what comes of it. And what kind of progress they make.
yeah, and I sent this episode to a couple different folks. One who's kind of sold a business, thinking about their next thing, right? And they're trying to figure out how ambitious to be, right? They're comfortable enough. Like, do I come back at this hard at this stage and phase of life? Do I feel my ambition? And it's almost like you got to listen to this episode with John, because I think he has so much energy into the belief set. It wasn't like, how do I figure out how to live comfortably the rest of my time on this earth? It was like, what do I go do that's meaningful? Right. And what do I feel passionate towards? And talks about the art of the start with his wife after he loses an opportunity, right? Like, how many times we hear those stories, right? Then someone goes, enough, right? Enough of working on
That's a
somebody
great
else's
call out.
plan.
It's a great call, Chris, because I think I was thinking I was going to send it to somebody that from one of my clients that, and they were in national security, and the goal there is to, I can't even talk about what their goal was,
Right.
because but what they're doing had a dark side to it. I mean, they had to be thinking constantly in these very dark terms about where things were going, and we planned. We did their annual and quarterly planning in those terms. Like, we have to be solving these problems and thinking
Yeah.
ahead of people. And one of the guys laughed. He says, "I want to work in space because I want to be doing stuff that's really about this more hopeful thing that together we can actually go accomplish this." And so I was going to send that off to him. So good episode, Chris, and let's move on to VCFest, shall we?
Yeah. I mean,
So VCFest was fun. You did a good job. You were on stage for that one. We prepped for that. I mean, a lot of ground to cover, but I think everyone enjoyed that panel.
yeah. And quite honestly, I apologize if I offended anybody in the room. I was trying to have fun with it, right? Because I felt we were at the end of the day, the first day, and I was like, gosh, we're the stand between you guys and drinking. So let's just have a little bit of fun as we talk about seed to scale, right? And everything from fundraising to lessons learned. And as you mentioned, it was a really great panel, right? Of experience sets and people sharing the stories.
Yeah, I mean, great nuggets. I mean, a lot of ground to cover, but everybody had some good nuggets. And I felt back as it's Laura Maurer, right? And she felt bad about talking about firing the person that has to go, but it's an important part of that journey, right? I mean, I think you and I both have walked into many rooms where there's a leadership team, and we know almost right away there's someone that has to go for this team to move on, for progress to be made. And we know this part of the growth of teams and the growth of organizations, that the people that were perfect for the beginning stage, the second stage, aren't going to be great for the third stage and the fourth stage, and that's fine. Just being able to talk about it and not fire them because they're bad people, because they just don't fit with where the company needs to go.
It is one of those it's not you, it's me moment, right? Because the person may have not changed, but the company grew and changed, and now it's like it's me
100%.
because I need something different to keep this momentum going. And if you didn't change with us, I don't have a choice, right? Because I've got to take care of the next obligation of opportunity to grow again. And how do I grow again? If I have the right people in the right seats. And so the gift of being fired, as our friend Meg Mayhew likes to talk about it, right? Like, it is a gift because it transitions for the best for you and for the organization, hopefully. It never feels that way at the time. It feels hard.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've come to understand it for myself anyway is that when I start hearing words like "stay in your lane," I know that's my exit music, because I'm not going to stay in my lane. I have broad view. That's what makes me a great coach, is I understand everybody's jobs pretty well, so I can give feedback, and that's what I like to do. So, all right, well, good. So VCFest, also Gerald Hetrick was there, Jeremiah Landy, one of my favorite big weirdos. Hardick, of course, was there, roaming around. It was a good show. I mean, it was amazing because I think there were more people there than there've been before, and I didn't know a lot of people there. I mean, previous versions of the show, I knew a lot of people, and even Gerald said, I know maybe a third of the people here, because they had people from all over the state.
Yeah. And just again, Jumpstart did a great job, right? I'm almost ashamed, Jim, that I knew it was coming. I didn't really probably think about what the broadness and the depth and the scope of the whole event. We'll definitely have it on the radar for next year to be more involved, just because I think they did a great job of curating community. And obviously it's one of the things that we care about.
A couple people I want to shout out. So Darren, I ran into Darren Small there. I haven't had a chance to catch with him since we talked about his OCO and being on the show, but he and I have to catch up. Shanna Greathouse with Piggyback, a future show member, and one of my favorites, Charo Ramanathan. I'm sure I messed that up, and Kital Patel. They're both there with Vital Exchange. I love that company. I think it's a great company. I told them I'm going to do a free annual for them. I just think they're great. And I found a couple of very cool tech companies there as well. There's one out of Cincinnati called Vixiv, and they do this really amazing thing where if you give them a set of criterion for a material, they can do some additive. They can come up with a shape that you couldn't make any other way except for through additive manufacturing to create it. I mean, they had some examples there of things that they'd crafted. It's like, oh my God, there's no one human would ever going to come up with the shape, but the using AI and a set of criteria, and they can come up with it. It has to fit in this base, and it has to have this kind of thermal transfer properties. It has to be this kind of density, but be this light. I mean, that's amazing stuff. I think that's super cool stuff to see. And then there's a new personal transport company called Trip, which just won the Cleveland contract. And Kris, I know you and I have what city were we driving around on those scooters?
Oh, it was Tampa. I think
Tampa.
technically we were downtown Tampa.
Right. Yeah. We drove out of the right area, so it slowed them down like to a crawl. We weren't really paying attention to what's going on. But very cool new personal transport, like third generation of this thing, and so it'll be interesting to see what that. I mean, I had a couple examples there, Chris, and these are real pieces of machinery. They're going to not last a lot longer. So all that was fun, and we got to see Jonathan Van Oker. Haven't seen him in a little while since he took over the Chicago office for Thompson Hine. So all in all, a great event, not to be missed.
Yeah, well, we didn't mention our good friend Clay from North Coast Ventures, so we got to hang with him. Of course. I hadn't seen Clay. I think you've had more of an opportunity to hang with him just from coaching them, but it was great to see Clay.
Absolutely. I think I didn't wear my North Coast Ventures logo wear, and I was told that was a good idea because if I wear that, I have to be able to write checks while I'm there. So, well, let's get to the best part, Chris. Last night you missed it. Best in Tech. This is the Greater Cleveland Partnership tipping their hats to a bunch of local companies, and the big news, of course, is that our very own Jeffrey Stern won for community impact. Personal community impact, and he got to say a few words in front of a very, very large audience. Once again, a lot of people I didn't know there because there were a lot of companies that were there were finalists, and they brought all their folks, and it was there at the Brown Stadium, which I guess is we'll see how long it lasts at that building, but the very nice event, and saw some really great people there, and got a chance to really talk about operating systems in First OS with a lot of great people. And he got to people that have been on the show have won some awards. So, Steve Potash from Overdrive, Joshua Edmonds from Digital C, Bloomfilter won, MetaView won, Agile Blue, saw Tony there as well. So it was a good chance to pat everybody in the back and say good work.
Well, that's the community we live in, right? So it's awesome to see all those folks that have participated in the podcast, but also doing great work in the community.
And Jeffrey's kind of a star, man. A lot of people coming up and like, I just wanted to say hello. You really appreciate what you're doing, and yeah, he's got a fan base, man.
Well, that's the goal. Not the goal isn't to have a fan base. The goal is for the word to get out there. And how do you know the word's getting out there other than looking at download numbers and whatnot? It's to feel that groundswell of people. And what a great award, community impact. If I had to personally pick one for the show, I think that's the award I would pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the point. And I think you may have saw. I did a post on LinkedIn while we're standing there because I'm feeling proud because I mean you saw it when you brought it to me. It's like, hey, we really need to support this podcast because it fits into our vision for mission what we're trying to do in the community so well. And yeah, it's done a great job of getting people together that you couldn't do any other way. So yeah, hats off to Jeffrey.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
All right, that's the weekly impact, Chris. Anything we're missing?
No, Jim, I think it was highly impactful.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right, be well.